Welcome to the fourth episode of the Sabiha Khan Show. Today we have the maker of Toyfaces and Toy Rooms himself, the biggest name in NFT India, the man Amrit Pal Singh himself. First of all, sir, welcome to this podcast and thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me.
And a big congratulations on your artwork crossing $1 million, the milestone, the mark. So how do you feel about that?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's been quite unreal, and with the ETH fluctuation has also been quite unreal. So a lot of emotions, but just very thankful to find NFTs and just like now I'm doing it full time for almost like 1 year now, and it's been quite incredible.
So I wanted to start with like the number because I know that you do not like people throwing random numbers like in media and like without context, right?
Mhm.
Because uh because when I started searching about NFT India scene, right? I remember like the first article that I read about you was the CNBC one, which said something. I actually have a screenshot of it that a 32-year-old artist made over $1 million in 9 months selling NFTs. So when I read that article, I didn't even like convert $1 million into INR. I was like, oh my god, that's such a huge amount of money, and it's just so misleading because just people would just think that this is all due to NFTs and stuff like that. So, and I know that you do not like it. So, like, tell us more about that.
Sure, like okay, diving straight into that topic. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, like I even when the article was out, I was like, maybe they could have done like a better job at the title of it. But then the editor was like, all the titles are like that. It's not just with NFTs. It's about like how old the person is, how much money they have made. That's what like probably gets them like, more like more people interested in it. But yeah, like definitely like, like I know a lot of artists who started and it was not straightforward for them with NFTs, and it took a while to find their footing. Some left in between. Some like stick around and they are doing quite well. So definitely like articles like that kind of, it's like, oh, it's an NFT wave, and everybody would have a successful thing like that. Uh, because of which I kind of got a lot of emails, people saying like, why are my NFT, like their NFT not being bought, and all that kind of stuff. And it's very hard to explain or be in that situation. But again, like just thankful that it worked out for me. And again, like even with NFTs, there have been obviously exceptions who didn't do much like of Web2 work before, but a lot of people who I know were successful kind of did something interesting in Web2 as well, and they had like the experience or something backing them. And this was more of an opportunity for them rather than just being like lucky with it. So yeah.
And people just think that NFTs make money. Like, if you just mint an NFT, like, you're just wealthy, right?
Yeah,
So,
like
and I'm starting with this question because honestly, like anybody who knows your name or who kind of have an idea of what you do, because you're like a very popular, you're like a celebrity now. I mean, you're not like a celebrity, you are a celebrity. And for other Indian artists, like upcoming artists, when they just see the numbers and they do not know the backstory. So because this podcast is not about like, oh, how did you like what's your journey and like how are you like are you it's not about that. It's about who is the real Amrit Pal Singh, right? Because we have talked before and you have told me that बहुत ज़्यादा पीछे there has been आपने वेब 2 में भी बहुत काम किया है like you have been and you have done successful work before NFTs, like before getting popular in NFTs. So let's like start with that. Like I want to know, and I want other people who watches this podcast or listen to this podcast to know wo wala story, like that story of who Amrit Pal Singh really is, because Toyface is just a part of you. right? And it came later in the journey. ठीक है, वो बहुत successful हुआ and like you're doing like incredibly well in NFTs, but उसके पहले भी you were doing well. And people don't know that. They just think कि like NFT आया and this person became popular and हम लोग क्यों नहीं हो रहे हैं, and like how does this all work? So yeah. So that's why I mentioned this article because जो भी like आपको search करता है, I think that's like the #1 article जो Google पे मिलता है.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
CNBC, so it just like always pops
Yeah.
up. And, yeah.
It always pops up, and then it just leads to misconceptions about who you are and what NFTs like could do for artists. So what is your journey before NFTs, before Toyfaces? Because Toyfaces is like past project, right?
Yeah.
You did not, yeah.
So you want me to like start from the beginning or just like an overview of?
Just like an overview, like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like that's the thing. Like I've I've been into art and design for 10 years, and I'm forgetting the exact number, but I think they were like. So there's like a website called Product Hunt where you launch your products, and I've launched around 14 products before Toyfaces, or like including Toyfaces, which was the last one like I launched on the website. So and I've had like a variety of experience. I started with graphic design or web design. Studied 3D animation initially, but then pivoted towards graphic design and web design because it was just like easier to get projects for that. Especially being in India. And eventually I even went to Canada for further education at Vancouver Film School. And after that, I was doing motion design. But 1 year into motion design, I found out UI, UX, interaction design, which just like it had more opportunities. And, I've always kept like a balance of like, okay, I like something plus, but it has to have like opportunities as well, right? So being a bit practical that way. So I pivoted towards that, and I worked for a company in New York called Fueled, and eventually started my own company doing iPad apps, iPhone apps, and some of them were moderate success, some of them didn't even launch, and it was a mix of things. But I've tried a lot of things, from being a designer to like having my own small studio where I hired developers also to develop the app. Plus had like 2-3 designers working under me, and eventually like I took a lot of projects to support my dream projects. Like, so one of the apps was Bookling, which was basically a utility app to track your progress of what books you are reading. And that did decently well. It was featured on BuzzFeed as like one of the life-changing apps. I think it's a bit too much, but it was just like it was a good app to for New Year's resolution to read more books. People have that quite a lot. So it like that day.
You said it's like your dream project. So like, are you like a book reader? Like, do you love books?
So my dream, it was more of my dream to make apps rather than like one particular app. Plus, like I always wanted to try different things because I think that was like a designer in me, just trying, trying multiple things. So I didn't wanted to make it like, like it didn't have any aspiration to be like Goodreads or anything. It was just a utility app, which came from a personal niche where I used to read books, and I was thinking like, people can track obviously digital books, but there's no way to keep track of like all your physical books, or if you're reading multiple books. So that kind of stuff. And yeah, so like I did this app. Then I also had like a merchandise store, which was called Literary Swag. So basically all book puns, inspired merchandise, t-shirts, cushion, and all that. That I tried to do for like 1 year, which it was like a decent business, but I just figured out it's like not for me right now. So
like it was like a proper merch business in which like you print t-shirts and creative quotes and stuff like that. Like, did you do that?
Yeah. So it was called Literary Swag, and that was basically like t-shirts, cushions, phone covers, that kind of stuff. But I was aiming to make it like more of a global store. So there were like logistical issues of like me being in India and trying to figure that out. I did figure it like out, but it just like the calculations and everything after a while, I just thought it's not like as fruitful as I would have imagined it to be. So kind of pivoted after that. Plus, I was also working with a lot of like doing app, like designing apps for a like variety of startups, and eventually joined a fintech company in Delhi called Kite as head of design after like working as a consultant with them for 1 year. That was when I kind of left my studio just to explore the job market again, because I like around 2017 it was, and I just thought like, a job could probably fit me better because I didn't want it to like have the pressure of running a studio, employees and everything. So I tried that for 3 years, and it started off well, but then after 3 years, I just like got really, I don't know, the whole startup ecosystem kind of like was not for me. Like that kind of like go big or go home mentality was getting too much, and eventually I left the company, and I took like 1 year of just I was like thinking what to do next. I had some good savings, so around that time, it was 2019 by then. And around that time, I thought, okay, let's just make card games. So that was quite fun. I made like 2 card games. I sold them through Amazon. It was quite like it was nice because
You
like
invented a game. Is that what
uh,
you're saying?
yeah, like I made 2 card games. So they weren't like very complicated games. So invention sounds
I
a
am
bit.
I'm just in awe by the by just just the effort and just like somebody inventing a card game that just takes like a lot of intelligence, and especially if it like sells and people like it. And so you were an Amazon seller then?
Yeah. So, like, I basically, it was 2019, so I decided to do these 2 card games. One was called Doggo Cards, which was basically like you could play multiple simple games, but multiple games with like dog characters in it. And all those dogs were actually like pets of my friends or people I knew. So that was quite fun to like just make that game. And the other one was like, a very nerdy game, which was basically it was called Monarchs of India. So it was like a trump card game, like that cricket or wrestling trump cards. But instead of cricketers or basketball players or baseball players, it had different kings or queens in India. And like the traits were basically mm, um, like how much area they ruled, how long was their reign, or how popular they were. So I did like a lot of research. There were like 52 monarchs, and that was a lot of fun. I'm like really into history,
This
so
this
yeah.
information is not on Google, by the way. This is new information, brand new. So these games, like they are like, do they sell now too? Like,
So I just
are you selling them?
like I finished the stock. So I went all out and printed like 10,000 boxes, and they all are sold at the moment. So I have to like print them again because there have been people asking for it. But I
Can
just
I
like
get one,
yeah, like
please?
sure. Yeah. One though maybe I just have like with me, so I can get you. I have few stock left.
I'm not going to touch it, and I'm going to like keep it and then, pass it to generations, and then they're gonna make like a lot of money. The collector and me like just got excited.
Yeah, I
You
have
can
like thought of like eventually putting them out as NFTs also, but like just waiting on it. And
you could do that. Like
yeah,
if I mean, of course, Gary Vee and We Friends and the
yeah.
whole card system he's doing. So even I have like I had the like my wallet got drained, so my We
Oh,
Friend
sorry about that.
was stolen. It was a disaster, but I think I'll still get the card because we had to register at the time. So maybe you could also do that, but like give me one box, please.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Like definitely, like just remind me. I have like some stock left because of that only, like just memory and all that. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah. And like these card games were quite interesting because I feel like so I launched them at Comic Con in Delhi. I had like a small booth where I launched them, And it was the first, usually like all my businesses or products were digital. This was the first one, which was like, I was selling them digitally, like eventually on Amazon, but it was a physical product and I had to show people how to play it. And that kind of like, I don't know, like that time I realized that there was something wrong I was doing with like all the previous businesses, that I wasn't like really pushing them after making it. So, like till then I was mostly playing like as a maker rather than not focusing on the marketing part of it or pushing it out.
Mhm.
So with the card games, I kind of realized that, that's something I have to focus whatever I do next with. Uh, so yeah, like after that pandemic happened, I think like
So, like, sorry to cut you off, but like,
yeah,
it's very interesting that you had to like show them because, of course, like you made it, and like it's gonna be like your rules, right, for playing those card games.
yeah.
That's just awesome.
Yeah, it was like quite interesting. I remember my friend and my sister were also on the booth, and I'm like not that extrovert to like show people how to like play a game or something. But then I just had to, because it's my game. I know the best how to play it. So,
Yeah.
but like that was like really fun, and I mean, like even at Comic Con, they were like a bunch of kids who like two kids who bought the game. There were a lot of kids who bought the game, but those two kids stuck because after a while, like I just like was walking around and I saw that they found a table and they're playing the game right at Comic Con. So I was like, they left the event and they're playing the game. So that's pretty cool to just see, like. And yeah, like that was just really fun. And I interacted with like grandfathers who took their kids, who they took their grandkids to Comic Con, and they thought it was a really good, especially monarchs of India, because it will teach them history. So like it is just like variety of people I met, and it was really fun. And that's when I kind of realized that whatever I like launch afterwards, also I kind of need to push it till this extent where it's like it matters to me a lot that people buy it or collect it or whatever.
That's amazing. I mean, because I have also done Amazon selling, and
Mhm.
I'm kind of, because my sister is a designer and we had a clothing business, so I kind of know that it's not easy to sell on Amazon, especially for profit. Like we did manage to even like break even and make profits, but that was because we were like the manufacturers and everything, so we controlled the cost and everything. But selling on Amazon is definitely teaches you like a lot about business, and I
Yeah.
think that's where your business acumen is like coming from, right? And that's why like you're so good at what you do, because you've done all these amazing things before NFTs, right?
Yeah, even
And
like so just to give you an example, like so when I started the merchandise store that was called Literary Swag, I was using something called print on demand, which would be like, for example, I
Mhm.
don't really print the stock, like somebody orders it and then it's printed. But the problem with that model is that everything is very expensive, even for me. So the margins are very small, like tiny for me. So it it's very hard to make it like a full-time business unless like super popular. And even then, if it's super popular, everybody would just shift to like manufacturing it rather than doing it on print on demand. So that's where when like I kind of like stopped the idea of like doing literary swag. And when it came to the game, I was like, okay, this time I have to go with the manufacturing. Like I have to have the card game. And that's how like the margins were great. So even Amazon ads, or giving like I stored my product at Amazon so that I don't even have to ship, and it's all automated. But
yeah,
like there were margins, that's why I could do that. Otherwise, it would just had been very expensive. Plus, the product was also small, so not a big problem. Yeah. So you learn all these things. It's you can't like really learn it even at a college or anything. Like you have to try it out, and then you learn these things. And definitely, they have come in handy with NFTs. Even now I'm doing like Toyface phone cases. I just like put out a teaser today. And those phone cases I have tied up with a very big company in US, Casify, and they are handling it. I'm
wow.
mostly going to take royalty out of like the Toyfaces sales. And I just like, because my core business is doing Toyfaces, making design, but definitely their cases were really good, and Toyface toy cases look really fun. So
Why don't like I know about all this? Like I am taking your interview and I'm just like, because you just launched it today, right? It was not there before.
I also like just tweeted about it like 3-4 hours ago, and
Okay,
it's
that's why.
not even like clear ki what it is. It's just a sneak peek. So
Guys, you are hearing it like for the first.
yeah,
Although I know that this is not going to go like very early, but that's so amazing because I just feel that like you all, for example, I'm also in a marketing business, so that's also like a service based business. I don't know like why we are talking about business, but like, I think it just it, it's it's right to say that because so like my point was that the service based business, it's difficult to do it for a long time because you have to be there, right? It just drains you, so you have to combine your service based business with some physical product. And I
Mhm.
think uh combining toy faces with physical product is the best bet. Like that's like an amazing idea. It's gonna sell. Like I also if I'm a person who could not afford a toy face edition, right? And right
Mhm.
now, because my wallet is drained, I cannot afford it. So I can at least get a phone case,
Yeah,
and
like
it has utility. It's amazing. Like all the best for this collab, and I'm pretty excited to like see how, because Casify, I've heard about it. I've never used it, but they do make like good phone cases. So
yeah, I
that's
like just
amazing.
got the samples like few days back, like a lot of samples, and they have been really good quality, way more than what I was expecting. So I'm excited about that. I like thought a lot about like what merchandise to start with, because like like people are doing caps or stickers, and I just thought like they're a little boring. All the stickers I love, like I love collecting them and everything. But phone cases, I just thought, like they are just like a billboard, like walking, talking billboard of the brand. So anybody with like a toy face phone case would probably like, at least like somebody would ask them, what's this phone case about?
What's this? Yeah.
So it just like works in that brand way as well. Plus, like the reason I did the physical thing is to kind of like I noticed, all these NFT projects initially, like whatever they are trying to do, whatever utility it is, whatever they are doing is mostly to build a brand. That's pretty much it. Like, you do a movie, you do like a comic or whatever you do, it's like just recall value. So with toy faces, one interesting thing that has been so how toy faces started was it was initially like an avatar pack people could use
Hmm.
before NFTs. So a lot of people use them in like pitch decks and on their website, and like so I was getting even like a lot of VCs have messaged me saying that they see toy faces in almost every fort. Well, at least there was a point.
So
Abhi, I don't know,
so
but yeah.
anybody could use it, like anybody on the internet, like without paying or
No,
like
it was a paid thing only. Like right now it's $70. I used to have a $30 one also pack, but after
okay.
NFTs, I just like have one pack now. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So like you have to pay for the pack and then you can use it like anywhere on the internet.
Yeah, apart from making it into an NFT or selling it as a
No,
design or
not
something.
right
Yeah,
now, but like
yeah,
earlier.
yeah.
Oh, all right. All right. Okay. So yeah. So that's how toy faces came into effect. So I'm really sorry for segueing into this, but you said the history, and I know that you love history, and so for your first toy face, I think it was what who it was Frida Kahlo, right? And Van Gogh.
Yeah, the first Toyface NFT was Frida Toyface.
Okay, so who was the very first toy face in the pack?
In the pack, they weren't like they were like mostly just avatars, right? So I was like, I don't even know which would be the first one. I just kind of made like a lot of them together. So because I like it was kind of like a PFP collection without NFTs doing a PFP thing. It was like in 2020. So, like, I was making an avatar pack. So it was like mostly to look like different people. Plus, like around that time, me being a designer for so many years, I couldn't find like very good looking avatars with diversity, like different skin complexion or different countries or ethnicities. So that kind of stuff, like just wanted to push that with Toyfaces. So yeah, like I can't pinpoint which one was the first one, but yeah, I made like different hairstyles, different uh like accessories, and colors and all that, and that's how I launched it. Yeah.
And then the first one in NFTs was Frida Kahlo, right?
Frida Kahlo, yeah, Frida,
And
and
why
then
was
2 days later I did to Van Gogh also. So
why Frida Kahlo and why Van Gogh? Like, why did you
I
choose them?
I'll give you like a very honest answer. Okay. So like when I launched Toyfaces in a non-NFT way, right? Eventually, like somebody in 2020 only, like January, or it could be 2009. No, I think in 2020 December or something, they were like, you should try NFTs. And I had like, I searched and it says non-fungible token. I was like, I don't understand it. Back then, nobody was talking about it. Okay. Like, it was like zero. And I was like, okay, well, I will see what are they talking about later. Then I kept hearing the term, like in motion design circle, like people had like launched one NFT. It was not the $1 million one. It was like some NFT which sold high, but it was not that one. And then there was a podcast, so I was hearing that. Then a girl from a platform called Lily, like she a platform called Zora, like it's a big platform. So she reached out, and it wasn't like that she was representing Zora or anything. She was just like, it would be cool if you do like an NFT. So I was like, can you show me how to do it? Because I'm not understanding it. Because back then there was no like blogs about it or videos about it. Abhi, so it's just all full. So
Like you would have been like, what the hell is an NFT? Like, okay, NFT is still like digestible, but what's like a non-fungible token?
yeah, that's
Because
what like everybody would say NFT, and then I was just Google it, and it just like came non-fungible token. It also had a very technical logo. Like the image it was showing, it wasn't showing punks or anything at that time. It was just like some random thing it was showing. So it just looked very technical. So I was like, okay, Lily, can you show it to me? And then she was kind enough to like show how to mint an NFT. I was like, okay, that's basically like a way to sell digital art, like with no expectations. There was an abstract cube thing I made, which I was going to put as my first NFT. And I was like minting it. Like I was just about to mint it, and I was like showing it to Lily that, this is what I'm minting. So she was like, maybe you can do a toy face. I was like, yeah, that's true. And then I just like looked through like the ones I had. I was like, okay, I will make a free, like I had a Frida toy face I had made. And I was like, okay, maybe this one could work, like, and it was just like very afterthought, like no grand plans or anything. I just like, then I minted it and put it on Zora.
that's like divine, what do you call divine
Divine intervention.
intervention.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Because I was otherwise I was putting it was a beautiful cube, but it was a cube. So I don't think it would have like anywhere close to the response Toyface had. So I'm just glad that this happened. So,
I mean, we are very thankful to Lily.
yeah,
Lily,
very
thanks.
thankful. She also gave, so I couldn't buy ETH, so I asked her if I could PayPal her the money, and uh, she could send me ETH for minting and all. So, like, fun fact, that was the only ETH which I got transferred and never
Of
bought ETH
course,
again.
of course. Like buying crypto, buying ETH is for lowlifes like us. Like who have to like pay INR and then like do all that full jhanjat and then think about taxes and think about like people knowing how much we are buying. It just but I mean that's amazing because I've heard stories like this, like because you said like somebody helped you, right?
Yeah.
uh and it was, and I think that's just the common ground for NFTs, and I think that's why Web3 is like so much better than Web2, because I've heard stories where people have actually helped other people buy ETH and even like borrow ETH and then help artists to actually mint their first NFTs. And when they just tell these stories, it just warms my heart so much because it's just that's Web3 for us, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, I am a helpful person anyway, but because I had a start like that where somebody like showed me how to do this, even helped me with the ETH part, and like since then, like even somebody asked me about NFTs, and I've been like really put like initially, so I used to put out a lot of information about NFTs. I even gave like a few artists who couldn't afford the minting money to like mint their artwork, and and that was because of like I mean, I would have done some part of it anyway, but I feel I was just like really into it because even when I started, I had a lot of help. Plus there was another person who kind of like tried to explain it, but they sent me like reading material which I couldn't go through properly. So like it was just like a call worked better in that case. But yeah, like NFTs have been beautiful, like ever since, matlab, because everything was so new, like, I didn't know contracts or anything. So it all has been just by asking more people about it. And I think it's for everybody, it's like that only, like who started, especially around that time.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen you doing these one-on-one sessions with artists, and I know this because for some random reason I was in one call with you.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
do you remember that? Like, uh,
I
you just put
remember
out
we
a
have been
tweet.
on calls like once
Yes.
or twice. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, like, I kind of knew like you were like the celebrity NFT Indian artist and all of that, and I tried contacting you on LinkedIn, but of course, like I kind of knew that I'm not gonna get any response because, of course, like, आप कितने लोगों को response दोगे? But then randomly, like one day, I think it was very early in my NFT journey, that you put out a tweet that 5 people who would reply back on this tweet, they're gonna get like a one-on-one session or like a Zoom call in which you're gonna like answer their questions. Like
Mhm.
basically, you were asking artists, and when I started in NFTs, I came there for my sister. Uh, because she is a artist, she's a designer, and I'm more of a marketing person, so I just wanted to understand about NFTs. And I was on a call with you with 4 other people. And I know like maybe you do not remember it, but for me it was just like such a big artist just giving his time to new artists. And it's not on space, right? So it's not like a marketing jig for you. You're actually trying to help artists. So like that's really amazing. So okay, I'm bringing this story up. I have a point. So I'm coming to the point. So do you remember there was this person? Why don't I remember the name of this person? But he was he's an Indian artist, and he was worried because his art was not selling, right? And you kind of asked him and mentored him through it, and then you asked him like, how many art
Yeah,
pieces
yeah,
have you?
I remember. Yeah, sorry, continue. Yeah, I remember.
Artma is his name. Like
Mhm.
it's his Twitter handle, right? Venkatesh. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Venkatesh. I'm gonna butcher your name because your surname is like so Venkatesh, right?
Mhm.
And you kind of guided him. And I remember because I said that maybe third time is a charm. So you gotta try like one more time. And then after I think after 3-4 months of this call, Venkatesh was sold out and he was like on the trending page of Foundation, right? Do you know that?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, and then I now I remember the whole call, and I remember you were also there. Everything. Yeah, I just like had like a lot of calls like that. So, but the Venkatesh case I do remember because I remember he like I asked him like how many pieces you have minted, and he
Yeah.
was like one was sold, then I minted another one, and it's not sold yet. So, like I was basically like telling him that he has to like kind of offer variety and do more pieces and be okay with the fact that, okay, one is unsold, but that's a very small number to be unsold. So, not worry about that too much. And yeah, like I saw when he was sold out, I think I interacted also with him about like that thing. And that was pretty cool to see.
That was amazing. Like when I saw that, I was blown away. Like I was like, oh my God, like just seeing somebody who's struggling with the fact that he's not able to sell his art. He knew that he's good at it. And
Yeah.
then just seeing him on the trending page of Foundation and doing so well for him, I was like, that's how you kind of pay new artists. Like that's how you help new artists,
Mhm.
and that's amazing. So, like, why do you do that? And because I also see you buying a lot of one-on-one art by a lot of new artists, and you support them and like all the good things that you do. So my question is that, of course, like in the art space is something which is very competitive, right? Because अगर किसी एक का आर्ट बिक रहा है तो मतलब वही, मगर एक कलेक्टर है तो मतलब उसने उसका आर्ट खरीदा तो दूसरों का आर्ट नहीं खरीदा जाएगा उस टाइम पे. So like, but you still take the time to mentor new artists and help them. So what's your thought process on that?
Sure. See, like honestly, like I don't like fully believe with like, okay, I understand if it's like an athletic competition that okay, there would be one winner. But with art, it's very different. Like I don't think like it would be like if I sell, no one else would sell, or like collectors like in fact, I think like if someone like is like somebody collects the first artwork from me, then they might be pushed to collect from another artist eventually. So yeah, maybe not that day, but like a week later, they would be like, "Acha, koi aur artist bhi collect." And that happens a lot in this space. Even with like everything, right? Like somebody hires an artist once and they want to try more like art if the experience was nice. So like I don't know, like I've never felt that competition with when it comes to art, because everybody has their own niche, and especially even like if you look at the NFT market, right? There are people who are doing like abstract stuff, people doing AI stuff, people doing realistic stuff, and I don't know, like you can't even say that they are competing with each other because it's so different, right? Even mm, like somebody doing similar 3D style would have their own journey. And weirdly, I've like I the only like I've done some collaborations, but in terms of like collaborating with a newer artist, the only artist I've collaborated like a young artist was like another 3D artist who has a very similar style to mine, because it was like it just worked well, because we both kind of do the same thing. So never saw him as a competition. I was just impressed by his work. His name is Kashish. So whereas I like it's hard for me to collaborate with like somebody who has like a abstract style or a realistic style, because I just don't know where how we both could make one piece. But yeah, like so I just like don't see them as competition. Plus right now I feel that this space really needs good artist. It also needs good collector, and like seeing ki I collect might kind of push more people to collect. Plus, like a lot of collectors, even in crypto space, they don't come from an art background. So I just feel ki more people who know a little bit more about art, if they start collecting, it would just be better for the space. Obviously, like everybody's like, I think everybody should collect anyway. But again, just like, especially even India, like hardly there are any collectors, right? So, and I was like, okay, I can afford to collect now, so it should like I should start. And like I have majorly collected from Indian artists, but I've also like kind of collected globally, so it's a good mix. Yeah, I don't know, like
The
just the competition part never. I don't know, it didn't occur because I
bothers you?
just yeah, it just I've had like a good healthy journey. I feel like yeah, if I wasn't selling, then maybe I would be a bit more competitive about it, or could sulk about it. That's natural. Like if I'm not selling, it would happen, right? But like my things were going well for me, so I feel maybe that's why I haven't felt like very competitive.
And you're like still doing the one-on-one calls here and there. Like, are you
Yeah,
still
yeah.
doing that?
Like yeah, I mean it's been a little because I don't know, like I don't also see like a lot of new like people, because there are a lot of resources also, right? So people are good with like searching and all. around like that time, I know people were just clueless of like what is this, and and I'm not like big fan of doing spaces or like multiple people and everything. Occasionally I do, but these like just you are on the call, right? It's just so much more personal. People can show their
Yeah.
work, and I feel like so many introverts in this space, like a lot of people are not comfortable talking properly on like with 100 people in the room, or 40, 50 people even. Like for somebody to admit that they are not able to make a sale, or even if you are critiquing each other, people just like want lesser people around. So yeah.
That's really thoughtful of you, because it does get personal. And I think when you make something, because I'm not an artist but I'm a writer, but if I've written something, then it's just personal. When somebody critiques it, you just feel like somebody's like critiquing your baby, but you also want to be critiqued because that's how you grow. So that's really awesome. I mean, and that has set you apart, like in my eyes at least, because when that incident happened, I just got the I understood the relevance of it. Like, if somebody who has experience, who has been through the journey, and if they kind of come and handhold you through it, or even if they just kind of push you in the right direction, that could like do miracles in it. And that's just amazing. And also, like, that just you have like pushed me to another question, that you said that like a lot of like everybody should collect, right? And my question, so I'm also an investor, like I'm a small investor in NFT projects. But for me to collect NFT art, so like what's the scene in like how do you invest in art? That's my question. Like, how do you invest in it? Because if I'm making an investment, so I would want that investment to grow and to increase in value and everything, right? So what's the secondary market of art like?
Sure. Yeah. See, like, I mean, I it's been a mix. So like if I'm looking purely for a profit thing, or like, okay, I want to flip this, I would definitely go more towards projects and PFPs. That's just how it is. Like, uh, but if I'm like, it's mostly for the art or the community factor, and just like, I don't know, like I have been into collecting things prior to NFTs also. Like I collect label pins or something. So once you collect like a one-on-one artwork, and it's like obviously like you collect it because you think it's beautiful, or it connects with you. It's a very different thing. So it's just like it's very wholesome, like when you collect a one-on-one artwork from an artist. So I don't see them as a like investment, a direct investment, although I feel it is still an investment, because like being a collector, especially when there are like hardly any Indian collectors out there, right? It does like benefit you in other ways as well. And plus like just more people, you network. And even like I started collecting because I wanted to understand how collectors think, right? Because I knew like like I like these one-on-one toy faces, people put like reserve like for 15 ETH to like 50 ETH, like that's very hard to flip. So it's not like everybody is collecting as an investment. Like sometimes it's about art, sometimes it's a mix, because I feel like with toy faces, a lot of my collectors see okay, he's somebody who's like constantly delivering on like in some way or the other, and they like the art. So it's a mix of both things. And with one-on-ones, that's the thing. Like if I see an artist who is young or just started off and they're doing amazing work, I feel like 5 years down the line, it's a good chance that their art would reach somewhere. And if it doesn't, the pieces are still good, and I would like to have them in my collection. So but again, like I have collected a lot of PFPs because of investment. Like, so mm, apart from my ape disaster, like I have, I like minted doodles, like 5 doodles on the mint day. Cool cats, 5 cool cats I minted. So those had been like I sold them like early on also, like not like I kept all 5, but they have been very lucrative in that way. So PFPs, I could see that there was a like, not lately, but like there was a point where you could like make money flipping PFPs.
Right now, the
Right now it's
I, I
brutal.
think I think I've lost more money than I've made, or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I've invested. It's like I'm like, I've made so many trades and like, how am I in loss? Like, I don't understand that, but it is what it is. So, yeah, so like, I mean, people say that, of course, like they're like good artists, and of course, you are an artist, so you would know who's gonna make it. Like, of course, like you cannot know, but you can predict, right? This artist is gonna make big in the NFT space or in the digital art space or in the art space in general. So for so I have this is a personal question. So what if I go and collect somebody's art and think that it's gonna be a good investment? Of course, like emotional value and the joy of collecting and all of that on one side, but also thinking that maybe not immediately, but maybe in 5 years, 10 years, I'm gonna flip that art,
Mhm.
right? Or that art is gonna like hold a lot of value, and that artist stop producing art, or that artist just vanishes. Like that is always that fear is always there, right?
Mhm. Yeah, like I mean, there have been couple of artists who like I collected from, and then they uh like they didn't mint more work, they haven't been active on Twitter, so it's kind of a bummer because like but I feel a lot of those artists are busy in real life projects. So like I mean, like obviously, like if I collect from an artist, I can't dictate that what they have to do with their lives or where they have to put their focus, right? So it's fine. I feel like because I have collected from a lot of artists who are actually like, like without NFTs only, they're pretty good with their stuff. And when they minted their first NFT, I got excited, so I collected it. But then they, like either they couldn't figure out the Twitter thing or the community part of it, and they were just busy with like other projects, so they were like, might as well just do that. Like I don't blame them for that. That's why I have to like keep it in a way where it's like mostly for art. But what kind of like at least there are some, like you see like checks, which is basically like, okay, they are consistent with putting out work. Obviously, it's risky if it's their first NFT, so you just don't know what is going to happen to their NFT career. But if like somebody like if there is like an artist who's doing really good work before NFTs and it's like good following on Instagram or Twitter, and then they do an NFT, I think that's a good like, because they have worked for it. Anybody who has a good following and has a lot of volume of work, so they have worked for it. So I definitely check their socials and everything what they have done. But again, end of the day, it's just about art. I don't think I've collected any one-on-one which I haven't liked as an artwork. Or like even if like I have known that there were some artists I could have collected and I could have like flipped a bit, or they would be big. But if I didn't connect with their artwork, I haven't bought it. PFPs, I buy it even if I don't like them, if I see an opportunity. So I always treat them a bit differently, because end of the day, like like I I think like I also come from like this digital generation of, we had like Instagram profile, Behance profiles and everything. So I just like want my wallet to also look proper and kind of show that like it's kind of like curating. So just show like, okay, this is the kind of art I like and this is the kind of art I've collected. So it's mostly for my collection only. I don't know if I would be like if it sells, it's great, I would sell. But if it doesn't, it's okay. Like yeah, that's the kind of like I've seen like a lot of collectors approach one-on-one like this only. Like nobody thinks ki, oh, every artist by they buy would like be a big one. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically to like kind of showcase their taste or what they are into. And again, yeah, obviously there's like mix, it's never about one thing. Like it can be about like, okay, it's from an investment point of view. So even with Toyface editions, I've noticed there have been flips like abhi to market is a bit down, so that flip would be hard. But like a few months ago, somebody bought it for zero point 0.3, like 5 minutes later, when all editions were sold, they sold it for 0.6. So I've seen people collecting toy faces for that also, which is totally fine. Like, you need like mix of both kind of collectors. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, secondary volume for an artist is like always good. Like in my point of view, like if
Yeah.
somebody, if an artist is like selling on secondary, like buy it and like buy maybe more than one and keep one and then flip one. It's gonna be like beneficial for the artist also and the collector. Uh, First of all, like I never thought that somebody would look at the wallets, and of course, like people do that, but just coming this from a collector, now I'm just like my wallets look like a bloodbath. Need to clean all of that up, but also like this is such a good trick to kind of understand like or target a collector, like approach a collector to just when you just go and watch their wallet and their taste and what they're liking and what they're not liking, and then maybe adjusting, like maybe trying to find the right collector for you. So that's that's an amazing trip. Like I did not think about
Yeah,
wallets like that.
that's a very like see, like I think mine is not, it's a niche, but it's not like very niche, right? So there would be a bit of a universal appeal to like the kind of art I'm doing, but then there are
Hmm.
some artists who have like very specific niche, right? So if they are kind of like reaching out to a collector who collects like all only PFP projects, then that's not going to work out for them. So they have to kind of find the right kind of collectors that work for them. And honestly, like even when I was like when Toyfaces started selling, right, that's the thing, like a lot of people think that people just collect because they want to eventually flip, even
Hmm.
one-on-ones. But
Hmm.
I was realizing that as I sold, right? Ki these like a lot of my collectors, I don't think they care about that a lot. Like or like at least they have like a vision of selling it like 5 years down the line or 10 years down the line,
Hmm.
right? Because nobody listed majority of my work. Even today, there are like only 3 one-on-ones were listed. So I was like, what is happening? Why are they spending? Like, like I was just kind of
Out of all the NFTs that you've minted, only three are
additions
listed.
additions are listed. That's what addition has, that market. But
Hmm.
one-on-ones, like just because I know those are the collectors who collect a lot of artwork and a lot of one-on-ones, and they're like even the one-on-one market is not that, like secondary for one-on-ones is not that big. Only a couple of artist stuff
Yeah.
goes through, like especially in that range. So so that's what like I was kind of like just analyzing. Plus when I started collecting, I also thought ki acha, I didn't collect this piece to flip. Like it was just
Hmm.
something I really liked. Like this, so I use Cinema 4D for my 3D stuff, and the like Greyscale Gorilla is basically like a place where I learned a lot of it. And
Okay.
he made his first tutorial into an NFT. It was for 2 ETH. And back then I was like, I started like 2 months and I had the money, but it was the first time I like bought like 2 ETH worth of NFT. Like, it was a big purchase for me. And I didn't buy it because I thought somebody would want to. I listed
You
it eventually, but it was
wow,
not
you
like,
bought it.
yeah, I bought it. And
Wow.
because I like learned so much from that guy, like, and so did like a lot of NFT artists. Like anybody doing 3D right now, like especially with like around the time I was doing 3D, everybody have looked at those tutorials. So like some NFT artists have like just taken the tutorial and minted the NFT out of it. So like I just kind of wanted to have that, and it was not to like flip or anything. It was just like something I wanted to kind of give back or have. So that's where I understood key there are people who kind of collect only because of that. So
Hmm.
and I think a lot of artists like don't realize this part, where because that's the thing, like that's why I've never been threatened by utility, because I have always looked at, I know ki, theek hai, not every collector is looking for utility. I'll just focus on those collector and it's fine. Even though even eventually if I offer utility, I offer, but like the like it's not like what you collect my art for.
Hmm. Of course, like this debate, and I think I have this because I'm not a art collector, like because I don't have that much money. I just feel that art is kind of a luxury, and once you kind of because if only like I am playing with a small amount of money, and if I put it in art, of course I should put it in art, but it should be like a gradual because I don't want to like collect art and then try to flip it and then demean the collector by selling it like before, like below what I've got it for, that's just bad for the collector. So I mean, it makes so much sense when you say this, that of course, like that's how art is collected and that's how it should be collected. And
No,
my
I totally get where you're coming from. Like it could only happen after a like point where you have made certain amount of like, you know, ETH or money, whatever, to like have that
and
kind of
especially
like
for Indian
luxury. Yeah.
people, yeah,
Yeah.
especially for like Indian people, because even if you're saying that your art is like, for example, just for 0.1 ETH or 0.05 ETH, and if you're like selling editions, if you're like a friend, I could like buy one of this collection and one of that collection, because I've done that. Like I've collected very small amount of, but then it's like for doing it repeatedly, if I'm getting ETH, like if ETH isn't coming, then like you could actually go and collect like a lot of artists. And so yeah, I mean that was just my point. That so I just wanted to say that when that happens, right, and if an artist kind of, that's just my point of view, that if an
Hmm.
artist offers utility, it just becomes easier for like small collectors like me to go and invest, because I feel ki, okay, I'm getting an art but I'm also getting utility, right? And maybe that could like incentivize more people to buy art. And that's what I've like told all of my artist friends, the Indian art scene, that oh, please kind of like offer some utility so that, you know, people are just like more gravitating towards collecting your art. And because like yeah, basically that's my point.
Yeah, I mean, see, I totally get that. Like, that's why I particularly mentioned that I know there are like like I won't say majority, though. I feel like people who don't care about utility is still like a big there is a percentage, like quite a big percentage of people there. But again, majority people would also want a utility. Why not? Like, you know, even if like you didn't collect it for utility, but you're getting it, then it's great. And yeah, like if the only thing with utility, honestly, like it's just like I don't know, it has to be a good utility, and I've like hardly seen good utility. Like I mean, like something like okay, this is a utility where I would like love to collect. Like to me, I don't know, utility. I feel ki a lot of utility was like very Web 2, what people were trying to
Hmm.
offer, but you are in Web 3, so like pre-mint pass is like an NFT which I've bought for utility, because I think that's the Abhi, it's just like the whole PFP scene is like not doing well, but eventually when it does, or even before when it was, that has a utility which is great, right? It gets you into allow lists and all kind of stuff. Plus, it also holds a value in itself, which is increasing over time.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, so that utility, but that's the problem. Like, I don't know, an artist cannot offer, right? You have to either have a product attached to your art, which not everybody could do. So that's the problem. Otherwise, like, I see artists doing like, okay, they'll do like a merch, or they will give their own time, which is fine. But like, I don't know how many times people care about it. I've tried, and that like never was the, I don't know, it was just never in like, I interacted with the collector and they didn't even care about that part. So I was like, why give it only? So
You're like a big artist, right? So
yeah, no,
of
no, I
course, like
understand.
nobody.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, but I think just listening your views on how does, that's such a good point, that you became a collector to understand how collectors think, because I never thought about curating wallets and trying and understand somebody's taste by looking
Yeah.
at their wallets, right?
Like say, even if like we recently OpenSea did where you could feature your thing, and like if you go to like OpenSea/Amrit, you can see like I've kind of curated all the one-on-ones, and PFPs though are not even in the feature. It will be like way below, which is like,
Hmm.
I obviously collect PFPs. I have it in my Twitter cover page of like the good ones I have, so that because that has its own network benefit. But my wallet is like mostly about like the kind of art I like, and just to show ki, so this is, you know, what my collection is about. So and I know
So
like there are
what's your favorite color?
color.
Yeah. Can we know your favorite color by looking at your collection?
You could know that I love colors. That because there is like a whole section of like artwork which is very colorful, and that's why I've collected. So like I love neon colors and all that. Like that definitely I do, and plus I love nature artwork. So that's the first like set of NFTs I have. So I like even tweeted about it. Like this is my collection. If you think your artwork kind of belongs here, then you can like kind of shill. Although like people still shill without even looking at my collection, I'm sure. But, but that was my intent.
That's amazing. So like rounding the
Sure.
interview, like so I know that you have done like amazing work and you've got like amazing opportunities. Like you've done Princess Margaret Toyface on her 20th death anniversary, and you've done like your artwork has been showcased and published, and you have been interviewed by prestigious the media and everything. So, what's like the biggest achievement of your life? Like when you felt like, oh my god, like this is it till date.
Mm. I need to really. Oh, yeah, like I think
The Princess Margaret Toyface.
no, it was
When
like
I
sure. Sorry, like that was like great. Like I like loved to do it, and like definitely like felt great. But I feel like it was like when I actually thought, okay, I'm on to something or this feels great, was when I did like I think it was like second edition I launched, and that was kind of like it was technically the second edition, but it was the first proper edition I launched, and it was kind of like it was 30 pieces and sold out in like 1 hour, where I just like tweeted ki DM me if you want it, and they were like DMs filled, and I just thought, okay, this is insane. I was just not, like, and it's me like selling one Toyface with 30 editions means like, it sold for 9 ETH in 1 hour, which was like, okay, there are people who are interested in this part of it is also like, that's where I felt key, it's interesting. Like newspaper and all, that's the like outcome of like just doing all this, right? So I was very excited. Plus at India Art Fair, it was like I presented at India Art Fair, and I had this conversation with an artist, like uh, they're like 20 years into their art career, and that was the first time they were presenting, and I was also presenting at that time. And I just like saw that, he told me he had to go through so much, like jump through so many hoops and like to get
mm,
here. And his work was great. And that's what like I kind of felt okay, that's in, like I have been able to make it here by my own without having a gallery or like people kind of like a team behind me or something. Plus the card games I launched at Comic-Con was this like the art exhibition was at the same place,
wow,
so it was almost like yeah.
divine intervention again.
So it was like 2 years later I'm like at the like, almost the same spot also, which was insane. Like
Just
yeah. So
wow.
I was like, my card games were like 250, 300 rupees, and I was like showing them how to play it and sell it. And I was like, I have like these 4 pieces which are like 12 each. And I was like, okay, this
And
is
now you're like लेना हो तो लो नहीं तो ठीक है बहुत collectors है. Like people die for collecting my art, and like it's just so insane. I mean, of course, like NFTs have changed a lot of people's life, but you definitely deserve it. Like the amount of insane hard work you've put into it, and of course, luck plays a part. But
yeah, I mean
just
also like
traveling that journey like in 2 years on the same spot, that's insane.
yeah,
That's incredible.
people think I don't like have to shill at this point, but that's not true. I have to shill, and I do it a lot. Like I don't know, like everybody's like, why do you DM collectors? I understand. Okay, if a new artist would DM a collector, they might not see it, and my
Uh, I mean,
messages
I
would.
would disagree here. You don't have to chill. I've seen my friends chilling for hours and hours and hours, and you're like, DM if you want this, like, I have other collectors, but
I chill in DMs, okay? I just like publicly I chill a little less because I'll be like, but I
अच्छा ही
do.
लगेगा अमृत पाल को chill करना पड़ रहा है तो. I mean, and that just kind of shows like I've seen like new people coming this space because I've never minted anything of my own, right? But I've seen other people doing it, and like एक हफ्ते बाद like come and say like it's so difficult to make a sale here, and I've had DMs on LinkedIn. People asking me like I've made an artwork, and they've asked me like why is it so expensive to mint, and when is somebody going to buy it? And I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't have answers to that. So that's definitely hard work because of course like finding a collector and making a sale, all of that is hard work.
Yeah, it's only that's what, like, like there have been obviously instances where it has sold instantly, but then I have like I have networked a lot, like I've messaged a lot of people. I message almost like my entire list every time I drop. I'm not kidding about it, like personally message any
Wow.
collector I know. So and that's what like I feel ki, and there have been collectors who are like ki, like they don't want me to do this, so I don't take it personally. It's fine. They're just being like ki, we don't want to see this in DMs. It's fine. But like, that's 2 out of 10 would kind of reply like that. Otherwise 8 are like happy to see ki, acha, I've like shared my art with them. So and I've done that every time, even like for this edition I'm doing it currently. And like I go through like 12 hours of just like talking to collectors. Like that's what I'm like. People think, yeah, BB, like I just put it and people buy it. That's not always the case. Like, yeah, it just happens sometime. I think it's just like one or two pieces when people instantly connect, and then it happens. Otherwise, I do have to message. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's insane. I mean, like when I'm gonna like mint my NFTs, and if you put in 12 hours, like I'll put in 100 hours. Like just by thinking that if Amrit Pal Singh is doing it, and that's the way to go about it, right? Because yeah, you have to like put hard work in making sales.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
really
Like
appreciate it. Yeah.
I really like almost every time. Usually I'm not speaking on that space, but I almost instantly dislike a comment where it's like, oh, you don't need to like DM collectors. That's like, otherwise how are collectors going to know you? Like, I don't understand. Only it's like, it's very insane. Like people, I understand not every collector would reply to you, right? Especially the big ones. But
Yeah.
the idea is ki you start talking to at least the smaller ones or the new collectors, so that you if not today, they eventually buy your art, because that has happened a lot. Like, I've generally, it's a good idea to be nice and kind in this space, because you just don't know who you're talking to might end up with a lot of ETH in like a 6 months, and they might be a collector. So that has happened so many times. I'm not even kidding. There have been people like, oh, one day I want to buy your art, and 6 months later they're like, oh, we made some ETH and now I want to buy the art. Even artists have done that. So like that's why I think
And
it's
I am
very.
one of them. Like I'm one of them. Like right now, so my wallet got drained, but before that, like when I was in the whole process of flipping stuff, because in the middle I got like really good at it, and like that was one of my I think I have told you also before this, that because I kind of know that every time you drop something new, it's like priced at 0.3 and it's like limited edition. So I was like, maybe one day I'll be able to afford it, and I'll be able to like get something from this person, and like I would cherish it just the way, like, like, oh, this is a piece of history. So
Thank you.
you're like right. I mean, people who cannot afford it right now, they think about it like, okay, and just because I've interacted with you and I know that you're such a nice person, that it's that it's in the back of my mind. So yeah, exactly. So you're right about it, that you don't know. And so people, and I was not aware, like I thought like tech DMing collectors is like cringy, or maybe they are not gonna appreciate it. But like, do people appreciate getting DMs on Twitter and stuff? Like,
See, like I will be honest, like I open Twitter and obviously I have like these request wale messages and there are a lot of shilling going on in that one. But I do browse through it. Like I'll be 100% honest. I'd go browse through it. If I like the art, actually start talking to the artist. Even if I'm not collecting, sometimes I have collected, but I actually browse through it sometimes. And unless it's like a lot of links and the way they type is like weird, then probably skip it. But otherwise, like, I don't know, that's how you network. Like, how else am I supposed to talk to collectors? Like, because DMs or Discord is the only way to go about it. And I understand, like, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, a younger artist might not have their DM read, like, probably like somebody sees me DMing them, they would be like, they would be more open to reading what I have mentioned. But again, like, still have to network. And that's the thing, like, even when I started, I was like talking to, like, I didn't straight away go to like people who had 100,000 followers, because I know they won't see my DM. It's nothing personal. They just can't. But if they follow me, I actually message them back. Like if it's somebody who I want to be like a collector, or just want to network, or just like talk about PFPs, because a lot of these collectors also know what kind of PFP projects are going well. So
Yeah.
so yeah, like I think me collecting also really worked for me as an artist, because I was a collector as well, right? So I could talk to collectors as collectors, even if they're not kind of buying my art.
That's just insane, and you're just blowing my mind. Like, you're not like this introverted artist person, you're like a marketing genius. I mean, that's how I have I've come to this conclusion after this podcast, that I've got to learn a lot now, because I never knew that the DMing thing works. I always thought that just shilling in spaces is like how you make sales, or maybe shilling in threads, right? Twitter threads.
Yeah.
That's how
See,
you make
like
sales.
I have made sales through that also. It's just like right now, like that's the thing. Like if I feel, if I still put some of my stuff in a good shilling thread. Like if I know the collector, or if I know this is a genuine collector. But I feel otherwise it's just weird for me to put it like out in everything. But when I started off till 6 months, I was doing that. But DMs, I really don't know another way. And if it's not working for artists to DM collectors, like, but it has been kind of working for me. It has been, there have been people who haven't replied, then I stopped messaging them, obviously, because I can't spam them every time. But I do still keep a buffer of at least 2 drops, like 2 drops. I will talk to them about it. If they don't reply, then I'll stop.
Amazing. I mean, also like my questions, like I'm gonna end like in
Sure.
5-10 minutes, because this is like very important. This is like a very important question. It's also personal, but also like people would want to know this. There are like a lot of art DAOs that are coming up, right? And like I know of two. I'm not saying it's good or bad, because I don't know. I've not made my opinion about it. But what are your thoughts on artists using art DAOs to sell their work? Because sorry, my earphone just fell.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah. So what's your opinion on that? Like, because the DAO is gonna take up a percentage of the artist's work and help them make sales.
So, I mean, without any kind of mentioning any kind of DAOs or whatever,
Yeah.
I had like one issue with it is like, okay, if the DAO is minting the artwork, then I'm a little off about it, because I was like, I would much rather collect from the artist directly. And like some of the DAOs have tried to like do it like, okay, they get multiple artists, but then the reserve is the same, which is also very weird to me, because then I feel a lot of artists are at a different stage. So either that means that they have only all new artists who have agreed to this, because I don't think like any experienced artist would want to agree to it. Plus, like, even if like I like the art, I just like feel like eventually, like, even if the artist is doing well, this is not minted from their wallet, and it might just not be that great. Like, even like, like if the DAO stops or something happens, and that's what like kind of puts me off like the most. Otherwise, I'm up for it if they would have figured it out how to do with like, on Foundation, if there is a split. So I saw like a gallery, a physical gallery. They did like an NFT thing with the artist where the cut of the gallery was on chain with Foundation, which I thought is interesting way to do it. But if the DAO is like minting it on their behalf, I'm a little like, I don't think I'll collect it as of yet. Yeah.
That's really an interesting way to look at it, because a lot of DAOs are like coming even in the Indian NFT art space, and artists do not know, is it like the only concern that they have is that they want to make sales, of course, and they should make sales, of course, but but this viewpoint of their artwork not being minted through their own wallets, and of course, like because the art, I just feel that an art and artist, they are like connected. If you are collecting an art, you're actually collecting a thought process of an artist, and the personal touch is missing. So that's an interesting way to look at it. I've not made up my mind on DAOs and
I mean,
all
like,
of that.
Yeah, if someone does it in a gamified way, makes it very interesting, and have like I won't be the like guinea pig for collecting it though. I would still wait and see ki acha, they like, for example, they did like a round with artist and they sold out. Okay, then I'll feel like acha, maybe the DAO is going somewhere, then I will do it. And as an artist, honestly, I feel if you're not selling and if a DAO is able to sell your work, that's also good. I don't like, I don't mind that. Like, I would have done it if I wasn't selling on my own. That definitely I would have tried it out. But that being said, I haven't seen a very successful artist DAO yet. Like, I haven't seen ki somebody like just selling out all the artists they have, like especially the ones which do like big artist collab where like 50, 60 artists, and I haven't seen that being sold out. So I feel that just puts you in the same position as you were trying on your own. So
All right. Interesting take on it. We'll see like where does this
I'm
artist
like
DAO concept
always
is gonna go.
open to being wrong, and like if like I would collect it if I see like any benefit out of it, or but again, like if I collect from a DAO, then it would be for flipping or investment. Like, I don't think it would be like a personal art collection thing.
Really interesting. So coming to the last section of this podcast, I'm really sorry. Like I thought that we're gonna do it like half a podcast, but I have learned so much in this hour that I've got like
No worries.
more respect to you, because not just, of course, because you have been an entrepreneur and then you have been a collector, and you are obviously you're an artist and all of that. So just a very interesting POV. So coming to the last section of this podcast, it's the rapid fire. So you have to like answer, and I'm not gonna ask you very controversial questions because I know that you don't like controversy, but we'll try and get something out of you.
Okay.
Like PG stuff. So okay, so starting from you have a pirate Toyface, a Charlie Chaplin, of course, like that's the newest, the latest collection, the Medusa, the Viking, Audrey Hepburn, the Ninja Toyface. Which one is like your favorite, personal favorite one, if you had to choose one?
Okay, so from editions, I like the Devil one the most, and from overall, I like I like Samurai and Tin Man. Like they are the one-on-ones. So Samurai and Tin Man are my all-time favorite. Can't decide between them. And in editions, I like the Devil the most, I think.
The Tin Man is actually very cute.
Yeah, Tin Man I
I
love.
think
Like it's also like it was the lowest sold one also, but I just didn't care because the collector had like a beautiful story attached to it, so it was like good collector. And that's the one which is available for 50 ETH.
that's the one-on-one, right? The Tin Man.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's your favorite international artist? Like a popular artist?
Like NFT artist?
Yeah, NFT artist.
Yeah, Lerona, I think like because when I started, like I just like was amazed by like how she, well, it's a mix of like, like her artwork and her selling abilities and just like how she kind of pulled off the boys collection. And also she's like a very sweet person and she collaborated with so many artists and I think we all started at the same time. So like to me, like I think like that's the kind of like collection I've also always like that's the direction I went with the Toyfaces as well. Even around that time, I feel for some reason all these like even Mark Habibi was around that time only. So we all have like a mix of, they are one-on-ones, but they're also PFPs. And when we started, they like PFP wasn't a thing. So yeah.
Yeah. And your favorite Indian artist, like current favorite, or maybe like all-time favorite.
I mean, I have like I can say like people I've collected from. So I have collected from Yashika, Rachna, and Tanaya. Yeah, these three people I've collected a lot. Yeah, even Tripti. Yeah.
And like, what's your favorite medium? Like, what? Like, for example, I like watercolor paintings a lot. So, like, what's your favorite medium in digital art?
Like 3D like that.
3D.
Yeah. That's obviously.
And who's like your least favorite international artist?
Okay, one contrast. So I have like I won't say he's my least favorite, but I have just
But like
not
the
been.
one artist that you think that I don't know, like why are people collecting his art? Like,
Yeah, okay, I'll tell you. And it's the weirdest. Like I know people there is an art, like everybody loves him. And I just like
is it
never.
people?
No, people. I'm talking about Pat. I just like I think he makes it so hard for me to understand what he's doing. I like always give up, so I haven't like collected any of his stuff. Like so, but I know he's like amazing at what he does. But for me, it's just like I don't understand only what he's saying, what he's talking about, and I just like don't like this kind of mystery where I just buy like the mass drop he did. I just like I was not into it. I know a lot of people love him and everything, but it just like didn't connect with me. Yeah, obviously mad respect for it's insane how he pulled off like selling circles. So
Yeah.
the concept was interesting, but I just like he makes it so hard when I'm buying it. Afterwards he makes it like okay, this is what it is, but till then yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So, what are your opinions on Indian taxes on crypto and like NFTs in general?
I mean
Like what's
30%.
what's your tax scene? I mean, that's a very
Taxi,
controversial
yeah.
thing to ask, but just like what's your opinion on it? Because
Yeah, I mean, like, so even with, like people say like 30% stuff, but like after a certain amount of money, you have to pay 30% anyway. So it has been
yeah,
okay with me. But I think like if they go take the route of like how US has like made each and every like buying NFT taxable event and all that, and like that kind of stuff would be problematic. I like the gray area, which is like where you can make calls and eventually, but like I'm fine. Like you have to pay
like
taxes to
right
anything.
right
Like
now, nobody has any idea how to tax it and what to pay. Like everybody's doing their own thing in
yeah, I mean,
taxing.
like I've
Taxing.
because I have consulted with a lot of people, so that's the thing. Like a lot of things are not defined. Especially, I don't even think Indian government cares about NFTs at all at the moment because hardly anybody is collecting in India. But the whole crypto taxation, like I mean, the GST part is a little sad, that 1% thing. But overall, I
Yeah.
feel yeah, I'm just used to paying income tax, so like it's fine. Like I have to do it.
Yeah, when CNBC has already declared that you have crossed the $1 million mark, you
Yeah,
have to pay taxes. You can't evade it now.
yeah,
That's just that's the bad part about like being in the limelight. People would like look at your tax returns and stuff like that. Scary stuff. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, question that I really want to ask is, how can an Indian artist like really make his place in NFTs and like really make real sales and like because you are doing Web3 full time right now, and what if like a new person comes in and in the current scenario, maybe like not just in the current scenario because obviously we are in a bear market and everything is like haywire right now, but like in a average situation, is it possible, is it not possible, would you advise it, would you not advise it, like what's the scene there?
Uh, yeah, like obviously I would advise anybody to like start with NFTs and try to understand them and see if that's an option for them. But I feel like like you have to approach it in like practical ways as well, and you have to understand key what kind of art you make, how realistically evaluate how much scope there is for that kind of art in this space. Plus like also offer something which is different from other people, like to make you stand out, because end of the day that does matter, especially like we coming from India, we have to, the only way we can market or network is through Twitter, or like I also do it on LinkedIn. But
Hmm.
that's the only way to go about it. You can't be at the location or have this inner circle. So
Yeah.
I think like your art needs to be there to kind of like push you to like make sales. Plus again, like you have to embrace the marketing side of it. Like 50% is that, like with everything in, like every time money comes in, that's the case. Like whatever you do, like quality is 50%, the other part is like marketing and pushing it. Otherwise it just like nobody will know about it. So like I don't even know any, I don't know any artist who has not marketed and made it. Like that's just not a thing. I know like all the like I'm pretty much like have been I've spoken to a lot of big artists in the NFT space, and I just know everybody has marketed their ass off, like even if it doesn't look like it. Like for example, people think that I might just sell when I tweet, but that's not really the case. You have to market.
And like what's the best way to market? Like just
uh,
be there in the space and put out your work. Is that it?
Yeah, I mean, matlab, ठीक है, I would want to give some more actionable stuff, because putting out work, though, is like I
Hmm.
think everybody's doing that. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, like it definitely is about like networking in a way where if you are talking to people, like have that mindset that they might be a collector down the line, right? Do like talk to more people, and especially Indian artists. I don't know what's up with everybody, but like they just like talk to each other only, which is like weird to me.
That's so true.
Like,
Like
like
all my friends in the circle, they kind of, and that's good, like to kind of
no, no,
boost each other.
yeah,
They
yeah.
just collect each other's art. And I'm like, how, like, okay, I
No,
understand that you're
even that
collecting
is
each other's art.
okay. But I mean, like, the thing is, like, even for example, like, okay, I've seen a lot of Indian artists who would just like talk like or approach more towards like an Indian collector, which like doesn't make sense to me, unless your art is very specifically ki acha only an Indian collector will get it. Uh, I feel even then you could try, but NFT is such a global thing. I feel a lot of people are missing out on that. Like I see like Indian artists are mostly talking to each other, or only Indian collectors, which I don't understand, only because Twitter is like, you could just talk to anybody, you could message anyone, you can find something common with anybody. So I feel ki they have to kind of break that mental block. Honestly, I think it started with WazirX, where it was like mostly about India. So when a lot of
Yeah.
artists came from WazirX to the space, so don't they just don't understand that it was a global movement first, and India mein to it's not even a big movement at the moment. So
Yeah.
so like yeah, they have to understand that it's a global thing, and they have to reach out to everybody, not just like could
Okay.
be
So
some people could have
very,
a language problem, or maybe I don't know like what,
yeah.
but yeah.
So, like the very last question, I mean, and it's like a very selfish personal question. How do you find these collectors? Like, how do you know that, oh, this is a collector? And like, do you go and look at sales that are happening on Foundation and OpenSeas, and like how what's the process? How do you
Yeah,
find a collector?
I mean, yeah, definitely, like I would go to like Foundation, look at trending collectors, follow them, not on Foundation, but on Twitter. And that's one way. And then like obviously people sharing art, they mention who is collecting it. So I look at their profile, see if they seem like somebody would like buy my art. And I have made lists of like collectors like that I've done a lot. I make folders of collectors. For every drop, I
Wow.
make like folders I can reach out to. So yeah, I have to do all that. Otherwise, though, like I don't know. That's the thing. Like people try to paint a picture where it's like, oh, yeah, artist ne art bana diya. Now they put it out and somebody will magically buy it. That's never going to happen. Like, like even behind the scenes, there's like a lot of people talk about the artist, and even if the artist doesn't know, but a lot of people are talking about it, then making a decision, and that happens. Like it's just like yeah. So I feel key there, and there's no
Collectors talk to other collectors before collecting?
yeah.
Wow.
Like I have spoken to other collectors about like different artists because okay, like so if I've collected from an artist, a collector would reach out and be like, yo, like you have collected from this artist. Why? I'm also thinking about it. And then I'm like, yeah, go for it. He or she is a good artist. So that happens a lot.
Wow. I mean, these are truth bombs. Like, I was like, किसी को अच्छा लगा art तो खरीद लिया मतलब. That's
Yeah,
how I
matlab,
thought
that
कि
that
ऐसे
that
होता है शायद.
happens, but like people want to confirm ki, matlab, somebody has bought like, so for example, if I've bought like someone's like 3-4 pieces, then it's natural for a collector to come to me be like ki acha, why did you collect 3-4 pieces from this artist? So I'll be like, so
It's like maintaining like a proper CV or मतलब एक a proper network and a proper rapport with like everybody, because if you're like mean, you're just like a mean artist, and like if somebody collects, like the collector could actually go and tell to other collectors like don't collect from them, they're just shitty artists, and that could happen. Oh my god. Yeah.
yeah, that happens. Plus, even honestly, like like it is about whatever people say. It's about the artist also. End of the day, like you have to like the art. You have to like the artist also. Like that. I mean, okay, there are some whales who won't care about the artist. They just like the art and they collect it. But people do want to see who they've collected from, and even if looking at their tweets, like they are like weird or sulky, because
Oh,
I mean.
just one question in
Yeah.
between. I'm sorry to cut you off. Like, what if like a artist posts like a lot of memes and shit post a lot? Like, does that devalue their credibility or something?
No,
Or like,
no,
are you like cool with it? Because I
no,
kind of
no,
shit post a lot.
no. That's perfectly fine. Like, malab, that's just you kind of projecting your personality and what stuff you like, right? In fact, that
Yeah.
actually, I mean, it's so boring to just like talk about NFTs all the time, or like so. That's perfectly fine. I meant it. I can give you an example, like where people would be like, uh, so for example, an artist hasn't made a sale, and then they're being sulky about like why you buy this art or that kind of art, and it's such a subjective thing, and like there is so much which goes on when you're collecting. Like no collector wants to read that. Like it's I don't know. Like, and if I see like so much negativity, even if I like the art, like like they later on mint an artwork, and I just know okay, this person when they're not selling, they're very negative. So like puts me off sometimes.
That's that's eye-opening and very interesting to like hear a collector's viewpoint, because wow, yeah, maybe I've not like ever talked to like a proper collector. I've like that's eye-opening. It, thank you so much, sir. Like it was great. Like I kind of learned a lot. Like I thought that I kind of have figured you out. Like I kind of read about you a lot on Google, but still like it's like there are like a lot of layers and a lot of stuff I didn't know about. So thank you so much for doing this. I'm like a very small podcaster, but then you've agreed to do it. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me.
No, like happy to be here, and I know we have been talking about this podcast stuff like for so long. It's been months. So finally, I'm like, yeah, we finished this.
Yeah, and it's like 3 in the morning. It's this is amazing. And all the best for all of your future collections. I saw Charlie Chaplin's black and white collection, and the idea that somebody's gonna get a colored one. I mean, that's like a superb marketing move. It's yeah. Again, definitely you're like a very good marketer.
Mm,
Uh,
Thank you. Like,
Kudos.
yeah, shout out to Jug. I think he mentioned on Twitter that you should do like one on one colored and one black and white. He mentioned something, but that kind of like inspired me to do it this way and then make the colored one as a gift, especially because it's bear market. So people would appreciate something like something like this, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's an amazing move. Also, all the best for all your future collections, and
Thank you.
thank you so much for like just being the person that you are, just like helping everybody and just kind of uplifting people and talking to new people and just guiding them through. So, thank you so much. I really,
Thank you.
really, really appreciate you.